Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show coming at you, as always, on a Monday morning for me. And as always, I'm joined by Andrew Combo Sal to discuss the latest and the greatest in the NBA. Combo, how was your weekend?
It was great. I went snow tubing. I was in the Poconos. It was a lot of
Snow
fun.
tubing. All right. So you were on
Yeah.
an inner tube, huh?
Yeah, me and my son, man. My son had a great time. He was a little scared the first time down. It was a lot for him because he's only 6, but it was good times.
All right, good. You got to traumatize him early. That's what I say.
Yeah, I saw his face for the first time, but then he wanted to keep doing it, so it wasn't too bad for him.
Good stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, I'm glad that you're having a good holiday season as we're moving into that, and I hope everyone did so far, and we'll have continued to. This is probably a light week for a lot of people, so we'll see how we do on the show.
But we keep working, Coach Nick. It's not a light week for us.
We keep working. Yeah, I'm slowly moving into that guy. You probably don't know this, but there's a UFO expert who's got hair. But I'm slowly moving into that territory. I love the guy. So I forgot his name. People know.
UFO content, I realize, does really well.
Oh, I love it. I love UFO content. I mean,
if you started a UFO podcast, I mean, that would go through the roof.
You know what? I might have to. I mean, listen, I feel like with everything that's going on and the insanity throughout the world for everything, the next logical event to happen is that the aliens will reveal themselves to us and we'll deal with that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem out of the realm of possibilities how interesting everything has been over the past like 7 years or so, you know?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you can throw 7, 10, whatever years. Yeah, a lot. But anyhow, we got to talk more about the NBA and less about, celestial beings.
Okay.
Should we talk about? I kind of want to talk about the Rick Adelman ejection because coaching is interesting. And let me ask you this, Combo. You've been around. You played a lot of different levels. Do you think that coaches getting on the referees actually has an effect?
Well, from a player's perspective, I was really good at not arguing with referees, actually, and I always thought that helped me.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I was pretty good at that. I mean, yeah, I'm sure I snapped at some point. I played for so many years, right? But I was really good at that, getting the refs on my good side because I realized they were humans and I wanted to go to the line a lot.
Okay. So you felt like if it got a little bit tense between like the player and the ref might not give you a call, might call foul on you. It could go.
Yeah, I think it's human nature. I think if you start arguing with a ref, they want to show their status, what they could do. That's human nature. Like, so I was pretty nice with refs. Like I was pretty cool with them. I would talk trash to players for sure, but I try to stay away from the refs.
Now, you've had a whole bunch of different kind of coaches as well, and I'm sure you've observed the coaches doing that kind of stuff. I mean, how does that affect the players when the coaches have a complete and utter meltdown like we've seen?
Well, the type of coach that usually keeps arguing with the ref is usually the type of coach that tries to be over controlling with the players. Like I heard, what's his name? He used to play with the Suns. Who guarded Kobe. Good podcaster.
Yeah.
Raja Bell. He was talking about how like some coaches kind of treat you like a video game. They're trying to push every button and play through you in a way and just like shoot here, pass there, And I never liked those type of coaches. I like coaches that, let you play freely. And I feel like the type of coaches that are always arguing with the refs are always over controlling with the players as well. So yeah, I didn't really appreciate that. I think it's more important to try and keep your attention on your team than the refs.
Okay. Well, let's talk about this because we have a couple of clips we can even throw out here. That now I got them all set up here. Forgive us. It doesn't quite fill the screen, and I apologize, but we did this quickly. But where is it? It is where's the one that says 10-11? Oh, boy. This is it's not going to come up here. That's interesting. It won't come up on my thing where it's to share. Fascinating. This is the one. Well, we'll show this one while we're here. Okay, so this is the one where Adelman gets thrown out on, and we can go back a little bit further. And so what happens here is I want you guys to pay attention to the score, first of all, because this I think has a lot to do with it as much as anything else. So we have here where Jokic goes to attack the basket against Steven Adams, and there's a little bit of contact here, and you'll see Jokic do this a lot. Like you see his head. What do you make of this? You see a lot of these players who kind of like will snap their head back a little bit. What do you think about that?
Very international, very European. I felt like the first guards I see do that. A lot of the European point guards used to do that when I first went overseas, and I didn't really see it as much in America. So I mean, I think that's basketball culture.
Is this bad? Is this one? That one isn't even as bad as we would normally see. It's a little.
Yeah, yeah. No, I used to see him way worse from like the point guards from overseas.
Yeah. Now Jabari Smith comes in as a second help defender, and gets a really clean swipe on this. And I'm not looking. Yeah, there's nothing else here as far as illegal contact. That second swipe was that. And by the way, if you can see, it looks like Adelman. He's already kind of start dropping his. This is like the Zapruder film, the JFK stuff. He's already starting to drop his arms like almost before that swipe. So he doesn't. I'm not even sure he's complaining about that. But watch what happens here. He starts dropping F-bombs, which we won't share, and just comes on the floor, obviously. And he'd already had a technical foul. So this was his second.
He's seeing red at this point.
Yeah, and I like there's KD. I love it. KD's out there going, he's out of there, right? He's making sure the refs know he's out. They got to toss him. You've probably been part of on a team where a coach has done this kind of thing before, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Do you feel like is that disruptive to you? Is it inspiring to you? Do you guys feel like it helps?
I just look at it like it's probably a net negative overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, in theory, what's the goal? The goal would be to get the refs to call more fouls for you.
Yeah, but the thing is like when you're that mad, I don't think he's thinking about like the goal or this or that. He's just really upset and going crazy. He lost his he lost his wits.
So here's the kind of legal guarding position we're talking about where, now in theory, if you're talking about how you want to be in the path, would Adams have to be over here? I like how he's pretty much square and he's in between the ball and the basket, which is the path that he obviously wants to kind of get onto. So I'm not too concerned about this kind of contact. It's not even that much anyway. So, it's a typical post-up drive kind of thing. It's not a big deal. I don't think Jokic was bothered by that. He was ready to spin and then do his normal thing until, they dig down here. But again, you can see this is clean. You can see right in here, there's a hand that touches the ball. Remember, the hand's part of the ball. If he hits the hand, doesn't matter if it's touching the ball. And then the second swipe also, you can see here is completely, look, that's right on top of the ball. Boom. And then it's loose and they knock it away. This is not a call to be arguing, honestly. So the question here is like, are they down? And the reason why I wanted to point this out is that look at the score. They're down by 17. They're getting hammered. They just couldn't get a handle on this game. Houston's was just too good in this game, right? They've got too many weapons. Reed Shepherd's shooting too well. KD.
Who told you Reed Shepherd would be a good NBA player? Who told you that?
You told me. And I was not sold. But you know what? Like, gosh, the guy you sent me that screenshot of a stat about him just shooting the lights out all over the place. But that's what I like him as far as the mid-range pull-up stuff. I thought he was always that was never an issue with him at any time in the NBA.
That's what I like about you, Coach Nick. You move off your priors when you need to. That's why I appreciate you, man.
Well, I mean, at the time, what I was talking about, he was not ready. He couldn't handle the speed, the length, all that stuff.
My thing was is that he wasn't getting the opportunity. Like the opportunity would have led to him becoming a better player even earlier if he would have got that opportunity. Ime didn't like him defensively at the point, but I think he might have struggled for maybe a week and then been great last year. That's what I think.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Which happened this year. Like it was sorry to cut you off. It was rough for that. Like I think they played OKC first game. It was rough. Right. But like after a week, he was ready. And I think that would have happened last year. That I said that about Jalen Johnson as a rookie. Like he was getting G League reps. I thought he was going to be on the all NBA rookie team. It's about opportunity for a lot of these guys.
Yeah. I just think with the kind of ways he was struggling, to me, indicated he simply needed more time. And whether they had that time, last year to kind of foster that through or not was another issue. And as he continues to develop and get more training and more experience at that level, that's the natural outcropping here. Did I see it? Like, I don't know if I could have really saw it. But what I did feel like at the time was, he definitely needed more time. You know what I mean? That was what was going to be the solution for him to get adjusted to that. And as a result, so at that moment, he wasn't ready. And so I don't think he was ready. I think he needed that experience to go through. And then that'd be my take. I mean, and that seems to be what we've seen a lot for a lot of players. But
he might have not. If Fred was there, he wouldn't have gotten as much opportunity even this year.
Right, that's true. That's true.
So that's what I think. Like I think if you put him on a bad team last year, I think he would have put up nice stats. Right, like as a rookie. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that guy could play, man.
Yeah. So I think just to put a button on the whole thing with the Adelman thing. We have a clip earlier in the game as well where there was an over the back foul or whatever, and then he kind of started getting really upset. He got his first technical foul. I just wonder if down 17, 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, he was just like, I'm out of here. We're not going to win this game. I'm just going to make a statement and then just get myself thrown out. Could have been part of it. The bottom line is if your goal is to, somehow get the referees to give you more calls, that it doesn't strike me as the solution would be to then jump on the court, drop all the F-bombs, get yourself thrown out, all that stuff. I just think that it doesn't make sense rationally to me. And I do think it affects the players. I think rarely will you get like more impassioned play out of the players. I'm going to get myself thrown out. That's going to inspire them. I think it's much more common where it just disrupts everything and everybody is sort of off at that point.
Can I give you 2 player stats? One from the 90s, one from today.
Okay.
Player A from today, 28.2 points a game, 5.6 rebounds, 6.7 assists, 66.5 true shooting. Player B from the 90s, 28.7, 5.8, 3.5, 53.3. Do you know who those 2 players are?
No.
Austin Reeves and Michael Jordan. Very similar statistics. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on
when did Michael Jordan average only 28 points a game?
98.
Is that right? He was really that low?
Yeah.
And I thought he was always sort of in the.
So he averaged 28.7, 5.8, and 3.5 on 53% shooting. Austin Reeves averages 28.2, 5.6, and 6.7. He averages double the assists, virtually the same amount of rebounds, and 0.5 less points on better true shooting percentage. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my first thought is you can't go per game because of the incredible difference in pace that we have now. Now we can compare them by pace, where am I not signing?
So that's the biggest factor, you think?
Yeah. Why does it always sign me out? It's so annoying. I could do well. That's part of the factor, but yeah, Austin Reeves is great. If you want to do it, we could kind of do it the other way. Player comparison finder. Here it is. This versus finder they call it now. All right, let's do that real quick. So you want Reeves this year?
Yes. People are asking, why is the podcast in mobile resolution? This way, both desktop and mobile can't really see anything.
Oh, what do you mean? That you have a choice. That's the whole. Isn't that the whole point? You have, if you want to go mobile, we're on top of each other, or you can go side by side.
I'm just reading reading comments so people can know.
Why is the podcast in the middle in mobile resolution this way? Both desktop and mobile can't really. I don't understand why he's saying desktop and mobile can't really see anything.
I guess he's saying if you watch the mobile version on desktop, you can't see it, and if you watch it on the
just go to the other version. I don't know. They're both up there. I could give you the link to this desktop version if that's what you want. But yeah, it's a new thing that maybe I got to figure out how to turn off on this platform because I didn't even know I had a choice. But let's get to some super chats while we're out here. Braun. Thank you so much, Braun. Always great to see you. Best friend of the breakdown. Do you think that Chris Finch had similar complaints about the refs during that series against the Nuggets? Well, I did a video on that, if you remember, where he said, you can't touch Shea, and they foul every play. And so I went through and I said, okay, let's look at this you can't touch Shea thing. Let's look at the fouls they're calling on him. It wasn't very compelling. The clips that we showed for those 2 games, maybe it was regular season even when he said it last year, was legit fouls. Like they were just following him. Even under the microcosm of me, like I'm some sort of a ref apologist now, and everyone gets really upset when I try and break down what the rule is and how the refs process these things.
You're a ref apologist? Yeah,
but go watch that video. I posted it the other day on Twitter after that whole thing with Chris Finch doing it again and getting thrown out. I don't know. I think that there's some really unhealthy rage going on out there, wouldn't you say? And I don't think it helps when the coaches lose their shit like this either.
I guess. I don't know. You're more on Twitter than me. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of rage on Instagram where I'm at a lot as well. When it's more about comparing players. Like everybody has their own GOAT. That's kind of where the rage comes from.
Yeah,
and there is a lot of rage about scoring inflation. I would say that.
Okay,
that's where I'm seeing the rage.
Okay. I'm just trying to see if I can do Austin Reeves. So this year, because I want to kind of do that MJ thing too. But anyway, so here's my point is I just think that, everyone is really, really, really upset about like the reffing. And I think a lot of it is a complete misunderstanding of what the actual rules are. Now, once you understand what the actual rules are, my hope is that maybe you're not so angry. You're like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that was the rule, because who out here actually studies the rule book besides me, right? Like I'm the only guy. But it doesn't seem to tamp it down, because then it's like, well, the rule needs to be changed. It's like, okay, fine, let's change the rule somehow. We'll have to lobby somebody. But why are you mad at me? Why am I the guy who's just trying to help you understand what the rule is? And don't you expect that the way the rule is written means that the referee has to follow that rule? Wouldn't that be fair?
Yeah, but I guess it's really, in reality, it's just whatever happens on the court.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there is a lot of discretion, right? That's sort of where they get to. And it's not fair. We see it all over the place. It's like that. The big thing I've seen now is it's just not consistent.
It matters more. Yeah, it matters more how it's called than what the rule actually is in reality and practicality.
Right. And there's always the notion, especially with foul calls, like traveling calls, they want to be certain. Like there's no guessing on that one. With foul calls, it's advantage, disadvantage. And so with the Ant thing where he got thrown out, and again, that was tough. I don't know if I have the clip up here, but Ant goes to the basket and he beats his first man. And then here comes J-Dub reaches in. Now, what I've noticed about the Ant thing, and I was getting ready to prep a video, which I don't even know if I want to deal with because everyone's so angry. But a lot of times he'll get by that first guy and there's a foul, but they won't call it because he's so strong, so quick, so explosive. Like they'll let him have the advantage, right? Because if the guy fouls you, but you get right by him and it didn't bother you, then you don't need to call that, right? Is that fair? Okay. So he had gotten by J-Dub, and so then he misses the shot. Now, on the replay from the baseline angle, what you realize is that foul that J-Dub got away with, and then maybe the refs let go because they wanted Ant to continue to have an advantage. He ended up kind of grabbing onto the arm a little bit and getting a little bit of a tug. Did you see that? Did you see this? You know the play I'm talking about? No. Anyway. It made him go off balance. And so when he ends up finishing at the rim, which looks like his SGA kind of flies by, no foul at all there. But because of the way that J-Dub kind of got his arm, he was off balance and he couldn't quite finish. And that's what he was mad about. So I'm like, okay, but in real time, this looked like one of those reach in, they hit him across the arm, no big deal. He got all the way to the rim. That's the advantage he wanted. And then Randall gets the offensive rebound, and Dort comes down with a huge swipe, big, huge. And at the end of it, his arm is completely across Randall's arm. It looked horrible. However, the ball was dislodged first in a microsecond before that by Hartenstein's swipe. So here's the thing. OKC, I think, is clearly coached. They work on it, whatever, to swipe a lot. They're always trying to swipe, and they're goddamn good at it. They are really good at it because Hartenstein's swipe was clean. And remember, and this is the problem with the rule, I suppose, with the fans. If you swipe that ball clean and it gets a little bit, dislodged, any other kind of contact after that becomes incidental. And so all that contact that we see from Dort is incidental because the ball was loose at that point. And it's amazing the refs actually saw that. And again, this is the other thing. It's not fair to go frame by frame to judge the refs because they're in real time, human eye, naked eye. They have to deal with all this stuff in real time and with bodies in between them. But they get this one right anyway a lot of the time. And this one was, by the letter of the law, right. And I get why it looked messy and dirty, whatever. But it's that reaction that he had that got him thrown out was, I thought, ridiculous anyway. And it doesn't get you to the goal, which is to get more minutes. Now, after that, I believe the Minnesota Timberwolves went on to win the game after he gets thrown out, right? Which I think is interesting as another side. Like, because I oftentimes feel like there's a coaching issue with the Timberwolves. And so they remove the coaching issue and then they go on to win the game. It's interesting. I don't know how closely related those two things are. But that's what happened there. It was rough. And I get it. It didn't look great, but the refs actually got that call right. When they were being graded, they'd be graded correctly.
Best refs in the world.
Right. All right, let's get to another super chat because we have another one that's getting long in the tooth here. The Drew Show. Awesome to see you, Drew. Thank you so much. Adelman is a coach's kid. And by the way, it's so generous of you. I really appreciate it. It really helps the show. It keeps us coming back to be able to continue to do it. Adelman is a coach's kid, Rick Adelman's son, which is a great point I was going to bring up. Coach's kids can be the worst sometimes. The whole coach's kid dynamic played a role in getting CP3 traded to Houston. Now, that's interesting. Observation. David has... something about his teeth. Rick wouldn't orthodonture. Yes. There is an interesting thing where Adelman's teeth are, and it's not like, listen, whatever they choose to appear to look like is interesting, but it is interesting in the sense that in America, anybody who grows up with any amount of money generally will get braces. I think that's a pretty fair statement. Am I out of the realm? And then so they chose not to do that with him, and that is interesting. I don't know exactly where we're going to go with that, so we probably have to leave that alone. But at any rate, I think the thing about Adelman being the son of Rick Adelman is interesting because he'll probably be influenced by the old school version of coaching, which was, detonate all over the refs. They're the enemy. We hate them. We can't stand them. They're always wrong. There's a lot of that, right? And I grew up with that too. And they don't have to be viewed that way, but they are, especially if you're graduated into that or through generational influence. But remind me of what he's trying to talk about. The whole coach's kid dynamic played a role in getting CP3 traded to Houston. So CP3 goes from the Clippers to Houston. That's the order, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Is that related to Austin Rivers going to the Clippers and they traded CP3 and then Doc Rivers? What is he talking about?
But didn't Austin and CP3 play together? Oh, and then CP3 got traded. I think CP3 just didn't get along with Harden a little bit and some of the other guys, and kind of like what's happening now with him, even though I don't think they should have.
Well, yeah, but wait, we're talking about before he got to Harden's teammate. He was with the Clippers.
Oh, okay.
He's saying traded to Houston. Is it possible?
Well, you know, Austin Rivers played with Harden in Houston too, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, but the question then is, but we're talking about CP3.
Okay.
So what he's
you brought up Austin Rivers.
Yeah, because he's talking about the coach's kid dynamic.
I understand. Yeah.
And so the only dynamic we're talking about with CP3 going to Houston would have to be Austin Rivers being the coach's kid. And maybe if there's overlap there, and now I got to remember back in 2016, before they traded CP3, was CP3 treating Austin Rivers poorly, and then they're like, "Oh, we're going to trade him." I don't. Now I'm forgetting that. But the point being, the original point I made, I thought was good in terms of, David Adelman learned coaching from Rick, and Rick was clearly a guy who would have from the old school, and detonating on the refs is what you're supposed to do, and it used to be like, oh, they're going to start calling fouls for you once you lay down the law. That's always sort of like that was the mindset, and I really don't know if that's the case. I don't think it is, and I bet you could probably almost prove it with like stats in a way. Mm-hmm. But I think my biggest worry would then be it doesn't help. We have a lot of people out there who are really angry and think that the refs are terrible. Right, which is, I think, completely not credible.
I think a lot of people think there's no defense, there's too much scoring.
Yeah,
the refs aren't good, but I also think that it's not only towards the refs; it's towards what the rules are. I think there's a lot of anger towards that because they feel like the rules were different than, let's say, the early 2000s or the 90s, right. And there's not enough balance. I think that's what people are upset about. Yeah, and then it feels like also that everybody's breaking records over and over and over again. And it feels like there's inflation with scoring. That's some of the outrage. And I like the modern product. So
right. Well, I don't know. I feel like we're done. We don't have to watch the games anymore. It's terrible, and we shouldn't do it anymore. I mean,
I'm saying what people are messaging me and DMing me about why they're upset, especially people like around my age that played the game.
Yeah.
At a high level or a pretty good level. They don't like that. It's like, it's not balanced, I would say.
Well, I'm fully on board with changing the rules to allow the referees to not call as many of those fouls on drives. If it's gonna be marginal contact, and you're not quite square or whatever, we are definitely seeing guys taking advantage of that where they'll drive and they'll accelerate a little bit as they realize the guy's not going to get there, or they pull really quickly. All the SGA stuff, right? The SGA stuff is a lot of times isn't so bad for me because as he pulls into the shot and then you had that contact, that affects a shooter. Like that's too much. But there are ones where they're kind of still driving and then there's contact and they haven't pulled up yet. They're calling those. You could clean up 10, 15% of those, and I think that might do go a long way. But by the way, we saw that happen like in 2020, 2021. For the first month or two, they were calling it like a playoff game in the regular season. And I think everyone was shocked, but also delighted in that because it was like, oh, this is nice, But like they
Yeah.
literally would drive, there'd be that bump, and like there wouldn't be a whistle, and we're all looking around going, we're supposed to keep playing, and then like then they would, yeah, and then so I don't know why we went away from that. That really would probably solve a lot of issues.
We have some super chats, and one
All right.
starts with
Drew
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Regardless, Dave wants to fix his teeth. Do it. Yeah. Listen, having had to pay for braces for 2 kids, do I want more people to have to be in that situation? I don't know because it's expensive. Here we go. Especially if you're opening your mouth to scream. Okay. Thank you, Drew Show. We got it. We understand. But he's back again. Another super chat. The doc gave Austin a contract wasting resources. CP3 bullied, and that's what I think I was referring to, right? Stirred things up, traded him to Houston, done. Which we could go into the whole bullying thing because remember, for a long time, bullying was simply the way that players thought that they were helping their teammates get better.
I don't know. I listened to Austin talk about CP3, and yes, he said he was tough to play with, but he also feels like, the Clippers shouldn't have cut him. So it seems like he's pretty unbiased with his opinion towards CP3. I don't know if he's just, being a professional, but it doesn't seem like he's too angry at CP3 or anything,
Interesting.
Yeah, he was saying this is the greatest player ever in your franchise. Not the greatest player ever, but the guy for your franchise, right? So
I mean, Austin Rivers was not a very good NBA player, so it wasn't. That probably was part of it. Where
he was, I would say he was an average NBA player. He wasn't bad.
Okay, I guess average. I mean, remember, this is a team that was trying to get to a title. He's probably not the kind of good enough to be getting significant minutes, which I don't think he was at that time anyway. But and believe me, I am not defending CP3 in the way he treats his teammates in the slightest. Okay, not at all. And like the way it blew up, we did talk about it, just recently. But it was indicative of how many bridges he burned, right? Yeah. If you have enough bridge building, then you can kind of slide a little bit, which is probably what's going on earlier in his career. Although
also when you're better and more in your prime, they'll put up with more.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's too bad that he learned that I can get away, I can do this, I can behave this way because in essence, this is your team, these are your teammates. And Michael Jordan was terrible about this too, and certainly in the very beginning of his career. I think he got better as he got older, but this guy isn't being traded today or tomorrow or next week. This is who you have. This is who's going to go play again alongside you in the next 10 games. And if you think that, abusing them, like this mentally or whatever you're doing is going to help them play better, then you're just making it worse, right? You should take the opposite approach where it's like, okay, this is who we have. He's going to get some minutes. How can we figure out a way to get him to play a little bit better or closer to what I want him to play? Like it's all about the goal. And this is how when I consult and I help and I help people coaching, it's a goal. Like what is the goal that we have? What is my goal with you, Combo, right now? Right. So my goal with you probably right now would be to have an interesting conversation about the NBA. Want to hear your thoughts. Want to have a nice back and forth. And if that's the goal, then I wouldn't talk over you every time. I wouldn't be yelling and screaming at you. And I probably wouldn't, even browbeat you of your takes. I'd probably encourage you to have the takes because it would be more interesting. And then I can kind of steer the conversation to enlighten you as to why you were so wrong.
Oh my God. Why I'm wrong. I told you about all these guys. When you thought Concanoople wasn't good, I told you, even though I just said his name wrong. When I told you Reed Shepard was him.
Did I say
Concanoople? Thought I was wrong. Yes. Yes, we got it on the Las Vegas tapes. All these takes are aging beautifully. I told you Cade Cunningham was him, and now he's in the MVP conversations.
Yeah.
I was never wrong, Coach Nick, not once in my life.
All right. You're right. So, and guess what? You had the form and you had the environment to feel safe to be able to espouse those thoughts.
Well, I make you feel safe too, right? Because even though we argue about these takes that I'm usually right on, we're friends.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's how it should be. This is how we can elevate each other. I think that's the point. We elevate each other.
That's true. No, you always appreciated everybody's voice, even if they were just a listener, you know?
Yeah. Which is why you felt I did so poorly when I had to defend Harden in this YouTube thing that he actually called me on the phone. It wasn't even a text. So, I get it. Because
I felt you were under prepared to debate. That's all. And I was like, I wish you could have done more. That was my thing when I watched it. That's all. I was just a friend calling you. You brought up the phone call, not me. This is personal phone call. You brought the phone.
Yeah, right. Well, hey, and I appreciated that. I think that's not really the forum. I'm not going to try and dunk on people generally. Like I just, although listen, I thought I prepared, but here's what I didn't do is you and I didn't sit down and do a mock version of this, which is what I should have done.
Yeah, I should have. I think we talked about it briefly, but probably not enough.
Yeah. Anyhow, but go watch it. It is interesting, and I did make some good points. I think maybe you wanted me to like start spitting out a whole bunch of like numbers or something like that, and I don't know.
No. I just feel like there was different. Like when they brought up some other player, you could have brought up some things about that player. Just give yourself more content, because I know it is tough in that position.
Yeah.
To be like, you have to keep going on things and keep things fresh.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's keep going because we got more to talk about. We have Drew Show's back. Thank you so much, Drew. CP3 always called him coach's kid, not Rivers or not Austin Wright. He would just call him, yeah. So it was and he might have thought he was being cute, whatever, but needling, that stuff. But I'm sure it was toxic. And then perhaps that led to them trading CP3 ultimately. That team.
Yeah. He also says that Chris Paul won everywhere he went. Austin says that too. So, I mean, I don't think he's too upset with the guy, but whatever.
Right. Yeah. But there ended up being a limit to that winning, right? There is a ceiling in theory. It might not be because of the way he behaved, but it might be, and we don't know.
Well, it might be because when your superstar is 6 foot, I mean, things get tougher, right?
Yeah. But then, and then they get situations where like Adelman gets thrown out of that game because they're down 17. CP3 would do that all the time where, they're down 3-2 in a series. They're down, 15 in that game, and he'll just punch somebody, on the nuts, whatever. He gets thrown out, and it's like, I'm gone. I'm not going to finish this. And that's an interesting thing where, if you got to finish, you got to be able to control and be and play the right way all the way through, even in the face of a loss. And that's what he probably wasn't fantastic at. Endgame is with us and wants to talk to you, Combo, directly. Thank you so much, Endgame, for the generous super chat. Combo, I told you Cat can pass. Well, so did I. Quick question, guys. Can you guys quickly tell me what is wrong with Gershon Yabusele and the Knicks? What would you do with him if you were the coach? Thanks, guys. I just went through a lot of the Knicks, and I didn't see him out there. I'm going to have to do a really deep dive, but I'm sure you have a good take.
Endgame, when did I ever say Cat can't pass? I want you to type that in the search, that he can't pass. I mean, if you compare him to like Jokic, he's not as good of a passer as Jokic, but I think he's like an above average passer. I mean, he's one of the most skillful players in the NBA, so of course he could pass. Yeah. I don't remember saying that, but you could type that in. And then Gershon Yabusele, it feels like to me, even though he's a really good basketball player, he came into the season a little bit out of shape. And he hasn't been playing well when he gets the opportunity. And I was at the Knicks fan TV party, and I asked CP the franchise, what's one Knicks wish you want right now for the holiday season? And he said to trade Yabusele. So, that was his take. It hasn't been a good experience, but we've seen in the Olympics he was very good. We've seen with the Sixers he was very good. Yeah. He's a versatile forward that can shoot the ball, even though he hasn't been shooting it well lately. But the thing is, I don't know how much trade value he has right now. I think you got to play him a little bit and boost his trade value before you trade him, or you won't get much for him right now.
Yeah, I mean, here's the other problem. It wasn't a great fit to go to the Knicks because he's going to have to deal with playing behind Bridges and Hart and OG. And there's just not a lot of minutes. There's not a lot of ways for him to get comfortable, get the rhythm.
He's more of a 4 than a wing, so he could play with those guys in theory. And then in theory, he's supposed to be able to stretch it.
Yeah, but Bridges plays 4 and OG plays 4. Like they're all in that same.
Right. Like Josh Hart could play 1 through 5, basically. So
yeah. So like those guys are all. If you're going to sort of group everybody together in position stuff, they're going to be in the same group, right? And so that's why those guys are going to play more. And they're doing really nicely. I got to tell you, it's fun to watch Brunson be, operate out of an offense a little bit more than normal and get some of those. By the way, that's always like been my fantasy or my dream, or like that's the best part of the offense is when you can use the offense to gain an advantage with handoffs, pin downs, all the kind of stuff, and then let the player use his individual brilliance to then finish it off. And that's what they're getting a decent balance with that. He's still doing some of the ISO stuff, and it's a little bit tougher, but he's been able to get a better mix.
Okay, yeah. So, Endgame said, Combo, I think you might have been comparing him to Jokic and another center, but I was just being facetious. I was being cheeky there. Yeah, sure. Compared to Joker, he's a better passer than Cat. But anyway, my thing is, though, like, so since you want me to sound off on Cat, I could sound off on him if that's what people want me to do. I mean, he's one of the most skillful big men ever. So I feel like at this point, he's almost an underachiever. Yeah. The only thing I would notice about the Knicks offense, I'd love to see and watch. If I check it, I'm sure they're like, top 10 in the offensive rating. So what else do they need to do? But, Brunson in the fourth quarter is going to be, dragging double teams to him a lot. And so this is the real key. What do they do out of that? And Mike Brown's done very nicely to help them relieve that pressure and get shots. I think I'd like to see that first pass go to Cat
Right now, what I'm seeing a little bit more is like the heart short rolls and that kind of thing. I'd
but
like
then
to
how?
see a Cat getting that first touch.
But I mean, their offense is so good right now. I mean, what
Like,
do they have to change?
I'm sure it is.
I mean,
Let me check.
yeah.
Their offensive rating is ranked. Yeah,
Check
second.
over. Yeah.
Look. Maybe look. Can I do under crunch time?
I mean, they're winning a lot of games. I know that,
Yeah. Where's clutch? All right, let me just look at the clutch advanced.
The keys for them is like, can Josh Hart continue to shoot pretty well? Very important. Can Mitch stay healthy? And can Jordan Clarkson give them something off the bench? Like, those are the biggest X factors. I mean, Mike Brown gave them a unique look, which was good. I just think they needed something different from Tibbs, which he's given them. And then the biggest concern out of all of it is, like, can Cat and Brunson guard well enough if this team really wants to win a championship?
But I got a finger for you. I'm a good coach. I know what I'm talking about. Wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at this, and so what part of the game do they end up doubling Brunson and getting it out of his hands most of the time?
Fourth quarter.
Yeah, so crunch time. You want to guess what their offensive rating is in the crunch time in the last 5 minutes when the game's between 5 points?
Tell me.
The ranking is 29th, and the offensive rating is 91.7. It's
really saying there's some juice to squeeze out of the lemon.
So this is what I was reacting to when I'm watching it without even knowing. I didn't know that stat until just now. But I'm like, there's just something up, and I think I even saw him score a couple times out of this. I'm like, what would work best, especially when they're doubling him, is I would like to just see Cat maybe get that first touch and then start to be able to do some stuff.
Who is at the foul line then? Josh Hart?
I'm picturing Hart right now a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Hart is a better passer than Cat. Not saying Cat's a bad passer, but Hart is kind of like their Draymond.
No, I don't see that. I don't see him being better than Cat. I think Cat is a better passer. And he's the guy you want the ball.
Also, the thing is with Cat is Josh Hart is a more willing passer, and his passes have more flow.
I don't know.
Like Cat can start getting into his jab step bag.
Yeah.
Like Josh Hart's going to make a quick decision.
I'm going to write that down because that might be a good video to analyze a very specific part.
Hart is the glue guy, as end game would say.
Yeah, or like the solutions that teams have on when their stars get doubled. So that's Luka, that's Brunson. Probably Anthony Edwards. I'm trying to figure out who else gets that treatment. Anybody come to mind real quick?
Luka Doncic, SGA.
Right. SGA. So yeah, it's probably SGA, Luka,
Cade for sure.
Oh, you're seeing that from Cade?
Yeah, I mean that time he missed all those shots, even though they started doubling him anyway. Remember, he had like 40 though, but he missed a lot of shots.
Yeah, I'll take a peek of that, and I can also limit it to like the fourth quarter, deeper in the fourth quarter, because that's when that happens anyway. I think that'd be interesting because there's interesting ways to solve that puzzle when you have your best player giving the ball up, which they kind of have to do, right? Like it's not like they're gonna be able to string into a good shot against two players in the NBA. So, all right, well, I guess we only have a few more minutes. Do we even get close to what we want to talk about?
I don't know, but we always have next week.
There's always next week, although next week is turning into holidays.
So, I mean, I'll work on the holidays. I mean, it's up to you, though. I did my vacation this past weekend. And then we're going to All-Star. We have to figure out All-Star, too.
Yeah, we got some time on that one. Yeah, but next Monday's the 29th, so it's not like New Year's Eve or anything like that, so we're good. All right. Anything else we got to talk about?
No, I think we could kind of dig into some of the issues we wanted to talk about, but there's going to be a lot of games in between time, so we'll be good.
Yeah. Okay.
Greatest rookie class ever, real quick.
This one?
Yeah.
Knipple.
VJ cooked the Knicks, by the way.
Yeah. VJ.
Cooper. All the Derek Queen.
Yeah. Derek Queen probably deserves a video, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. That's Baby Jokic.
When you left the last show, I did a little, mini breakdown of him. I'm surprised. Are you surprised by that?
I always liked his game. No, I'm not surprised. Honestly, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by him. Yeah, I like him.
He's definitely seems like he's been in better shape now than he was in college, wouldn't you say?
Who's in? Yeah, I agree with that. I think Keontae George is also in a lot better shape than he was in college. I feel like he slimmed down.
I'm worried about him in terms of kind of a bad team.
Yeah. There's some worry, but you never know. They said that about other players before.
Yeah, and he's certainly getting so many opportunities. Like he'll fill up the stat sheet. It's hard to really know what that means yet. But hey, Anyway, last year's rookie class was pretty good too.
But they always say 03 and 96. were like the best years, but we could talk about that another day.
Yeah, 96. I mean, you can go 84 if you want to.
Jordan, Akeem, and Sam Bowie.
Sam Bowie. It was not bad, when he wasn't breaking his leg or hurt. And then, but there's more. There's
he's the original unicorn. No, I'm joking.
Sam Bowie. Yeah, right. Anyhow, all right. Well, listen, I will wrap this up because I know you got to go and it's time. But awesome stuff. Great show as always.
Yeah.
And we had, I think that was interesting. And I'm glad that we had that little talk in the middle of there about how we interact. It's good stuff.
Yeah, you think a whole pod about that would be good? I don't know about that, but anyway.
No, but it was nice to have one in the middle there.
Okay.
All right. Well, have a great. We won't see you probably before Christmas, so I hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. If you're celebrating that or anything else you might be celebrating, this is the nicest time of the year. We're all supposed to be nice to each other, right?
Yep. Let's be nice.
Let's be nice. So don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Combo?
Yes, sir.